On this episode of WTF, we're going to show you how to maximize the flavor of any recipe by using the Culinary Crystals flavor drops. Hey, it's Chef Scott
and Janie, and welcome to WTF, where we help you transform food in your kitchen. So remember to subscribe and stick around for our weekly giveaway. This week we are talking all about how do we use our Culinary Crystals flavor drops, and these are super concentrated, really great flavors that you can basically add to anything in order to make it more impactful. So today, Scott's going to talk about what are the flavor drops and how do we use them in some of our favorite recipes to show you just a sample of how versatile these ingredients are. Let's start with the basics of what exactly are Culinary Crystals flavor drops.
So Culinary Crystals flavor drops are either alcohol-based or oil-based flavorings that are about 5 times as potent as regular flavors. So you can add a very small amount and get a big punch of flavor out of just about every single one of them.
Yeah, and what are some of the things that you find that we've been using them in over the years that has really made a big difference here in our kitchen?
Anytime I just need to bump up the flavor, if I make something using coconut, let's say, and I need it to be more coconutty, I can add some flavor drops just to bring it up without having to really change the recipe around or add too much of something that's dry and then everything gets mixed up. I can just add some of the flavor drops and get more flavor out of it.
Yeah, and we know that we have a lot of people watching. You know, you have dietary restrictions, allergies, etc., and this is a great way where, you know, if you want honey but you don't want to use honey, it's a great way to just add that flavor in without the ingredient that you are trying to stay away from. So that's something to keep in mind as well. And you know, back in the day, many years ago, when we first started doing different types of tests here in the kitchen, our first application for the flavor drops was the Culinary Crystals, which is what they're named after. Can you talk a little bit about what Culinary Crystals are and how do we use the flavor drops in that application?
So Culinary Crystals are essentially the same thing as a pop rock, where it's sugar that has been crystallized and carbonated, so when you eat them they give you that popping, like effervescent texture. And it's great because now you can customize them and add them to, you know, different types of recipes. Some people try to add them to ice cream. You can put it on top of salads. You can do all these things just to give like a little bit of intrigue to a dish. And it's super simple to flavor any of these with the flavor drops.
Yeah, and they're really cool because you can do like sweet, you can do fruity. So when, you know, we all grew up with little packets of Pop Rocks, but you're only getting like strawberry, watermelon, blueberry, yes, the usuals. But now we can do so many different ones because we have over, what, 50 different flavors, yes, in our catalog. But let's see, how do we coat these Culinary Crystals?
So the first thing you want to do is, whenever you have the Culinary Crystals, make sure that you're keeping them in the driest area possible. I just know that I may have to scoop these out because they are sugar, so they love moisture. And a way to help prevent them from sticking together and everything, we're going to use flavor base. So this is Culinary Crystals flavor base, and for every 1 ounce we're going to use half a teaspoon of the flavor base. Now one thing, you can notice this is just gently melted. You don't want to add excess heat. So if that was really hot, if I put it into boiling water and let it get you know, up to that 212, it could prematurely pop these as I add them. So just barely melted. Add in your flavor drops. So we have the flavor base, and then so between 3 to 5 drops is all you're going to need for this flavor base, and you want to mix it up as good as possible. The reason why you want to do this and not add them directly to the crystals themselves is that you will, in doing that, get some that taste like all the raspberries and some that taste like none of it. So you want to mix it into that flavor base as well as possible, and then add in your Culinary Crystals and mix this up really well. So for every ounce of Culinary Crystals, it's half a teaspoon of the flavor base and 3 to 5 drops of the flavor drops.
Yeah.
If you want to add more, you absolutely can. But just make sure that they are evenly coated, and you'll notice that they get a little bit of a sheen to them when they're all nicely coated.
And one of the things about the flavor drops is that most people will start getting them in these little bottles. So these are just a dram. But once someone is like, oh, I love this flavor, I have a great application for it, we do offer them in larger bottles, so like 16 ounces, 4 ounces. Yep. So different ones if you need more, but we love starting with the little ones because you know, they're the most economical for usually, you know, just a couple of drops that you just see Scott shaking in.
Yes.
You know, that's all you need.
So if you wanted to, you can take this and put it into the freezer for just a minute or two. That's going to set that flavor base on the outside, and then you can take them, put them into a mason jar. If you have like a little silica packet, I like to do that. If not, just make sure it's sealed up really nicely. That way no moisture gets in. They don't turn into a big clump that you're going to have to break apart. That's the best way to keep them, and when you eat them, they're going to taste like raspberries.
Yeah.
Want to try some?
Sure do. I love Pop Rocks. I think they're super fun. And we, I think we put these in chocolate.
Yes.
They're delicious.
They work great in chocolate because the chocolate acts like the flavor base, so it coats them. You can add a ton of that. You can hear it now.
Yeah. Mouth is
you can
watering.
add that to a chocolate that either goes on a dessert or into a bar, and it really changes everything.
Yeah, we're going to link to that that particular episode in the description below, and you can check that out if you're intrigued by how to use Pop Rocks or culinary crystals in different ways. And I think that's, you know, definitely how we started using flavor drops. But over time, we're like, hey, why don't we put it into this recipe?
Yeah.
Why don't we put it into this recipe? So we end up just really expanding its usage far beyond coating Pop Rocks. And we wanted to share with you today a few of our favorite recipes. But you can find way more on the blog, link in the description below. So Scott, do you want to talk about what recipes you've chosen to showcase today?
Sure. So we have 3 different ones, and they kind of run the gamut of things that you can do. We have a drink, so we're going to start with this one. It's basically an orange soda. And this opens up a world of possibilities to make all the sodas that you want. We have 56 flavors, and then if you mix and match them, you can have thousands of combinations of flavor, so then you can make whatever you want, whatever soda you want. It's very simple to make the syrup and then just carbonate it in a whipping siphon, which we've done here. This is simple. This is orange, basically orange soda. It's the flavor drops, some orange concentrate, water, sugar, some phosphoric acid. You can watch an episode on that. Links in the description below. And I put it into a whipping siphon after I make the syrup, add some water, and then I'm able to make whatever soda I want. So that's really nice for if you're in a restaurant or you're doing a cocktail party, you can make your own custom soda using the flavor drops.
Absolutely.
And this is delicious because we put a vanilla foam on top, so it's kind of like a creamsicle. You can freeze this soda, you can make it alcoholic, you can do all those things, and it's all inside the recipe.
Very cool.
And then we move on to something that's completely the different end of the spectrum. We added maple flavor drops to a very low-fat turkey sausage, so 99% fat-free. Obviously, it's fried in a little bit of fat just so it can get some nice contact to the pan. But the maple in there, we don't have to add any sugar, so you're not getting, you know, any extra carbs or anything if you're looking for a very low-fat, healthy sausage. And then we have, which is one of our favorite recipes, which is the pistachio cream puff. And this is great because pistachios are expensive, so a great way to kind of lower that cost and still get all the pistachio flavor is we add some pistachios to the curd on the inside. So instead of a lemon curd, we made pistachio curd. We add in the pistachio flavor drops, which bumps up that flavor exponentially. And then we are able to fill the cream puffs and have this really tasty dessert that's very different, but you get all that nice pistachio flavor.
So this is kind of a really nice, I think, representation of the different things that you can do with the flavor drops. You know, you can do sweet, you can do savory, you can do dessert, you can do breakfast, you know, anything really that you want to try. So if you're intrigued and you're like, I want to try the flavor drops, you can enter this week's giveaway. And this week's giveaway will be 5 different flavor drops of your choosing. And to enter to win, just leave in the comments below a recipe that you think that you really like, where it's really going to benefit from getting a bump from the Culinary Crystals flavor drops. It's that easy. Enter to win. And I think that about wraps it up for us for this week in the test kitchen. So until next week, from here in the Modernist Pantry Test Kitchen, I'm Janie.
And I'm Scott.